I believed in what I was writing. So I was writing opinion pieces about women's sports. I've always been passionate about women's sports right back to my regional days. And you could ask anyone that I've worked with. I've always been on my little soapbox about women's sport and equality in sport. In those junior reporting days, like in regional TV, you know, I had to lie and go out of my way to convince and pitch stories about women's sports in a way that didn't say it was about women's sports. So, you know, I would wait until there was like a lull in the week with sports stories, or I would wait until the sports editor or my chief of staff was away for the day, and then I'd pitch stories. I'd do anything I could, or I'd tell them it's a story about a touch footballer, not about a female touch footballer, or a female, I'd say it's about a rugby player, not a female rugby player. I'd do anything I could to get those stories out there, and it's an ongoing theme, but I really believed in what I was writing with these opinion pieces. But I kept getting feedback saying, oh, you know, our readers aren't into women's sports, or, you know, we're not into women's sports, or we don't think that would be interesting, or thanks, but no thanks. And I just couldn't. I was so frustrated. Another one got rejected, and it was my husband. I got the rejection again, and it was my husband. He goes, oh, I think, you know, why don't you just create your own site? Like, you should just create your own site, and then you can publish them. Then they can get out there. And that was during a time when everyone was like starting their own websites with their names. And I was like, oh, I don't want samsquiers.com. Like, and I thought, all right. And then he kept saying it. And then finally I went, well, all right, let's do it. But if we're going to do it, we're going to do it well, and we have to invest in it. So it's going to cost money. We're not just going to do like a lazy, haphazard kind of cheap thing. We're going to actually make it something that a destination people are going to want to go to, explore and read and enjoy their time through this website. So yeah, that's how it kind of all came about. But I made sure I just wanted to challenge the way you think about sports sites and sports stories, and up until then, sports sites were always primary colours, or very blokey, very block. Whereas for me, I'd go onto Goop, and I'm like, oh, I want to find what's going through this. And I was like, well, what if we can make it a destination that is so not sport, it doesn't look sport, but it looks beautiful, and you want to be able to explore through it and find these stories and see interesting things and spend time on it. So yeah, that's how we came up with our concept, and then we're like, all right, well, we've invested in this and we'll do it. And then I did it while I was working full-time as a sports journo and sports presenter for Channel 9 in Brisbane, and I just spent every spare hour that I had on it, so until like 11, 12 o'clock at night, until my husband would literally push down the lid of my laptop and say, you have to get to bed now.